Hi, this is Steve, and this is my signature assignment for Marketing 605, Week 8, which I focused on a digital signage B2B service for particular neighborhoods in Queens, New York. When thinking about these particular neighborhoods and this business, in the environmental scan, I chose to focus on client values, technology, the economy, and geopolitics. These are all things that could impact this business. It would be really important to be able to speak English and Spanish for these particular neighborhoods. Sustainability is generally something that concerns customers of digital signage. The market research is still not clear whether or not it's a net positive or net negative for the environment. AI could potentially disrupt the digital signage world. It makes media creation more efficient, which is a positive, but it could also cause there to be more competition and more DIY projects from business owners. Display innovations are definitely a net positive. Year over year, we just see better display technology from the large manufacturers at better prices. The economy definitely has a possibility of impacting this business because it's reliant on small businesses. Even though digital signage is proven to be a good investment, if small businesses don't have the finances to be able to make that investment, they might just not do it. Geopolitics would impact the supply chain and procurement of the necessary hardware for digital signage projects. And because the US is in the election year right now, we're not sure on how that might impact the supply chain. And even though the United States is in an election year, a lot of media outlets are calling this an election super year in 2024. We see that 64 countries marked in red here are all having elections. So regardless what happens with the United States elections, there could be a large shakeup in terms of what happens on the global supply chain, making it harder to get parts. On a more positive note, it looks like there's definitely an opportunity in the target area. So the target area is there marked in that red circle, zoomed in here on the left. The local services, which is mainly green and what you see in the green circle, are small businesses. So there's not a lot of institutional and office work or industrial work in that area, which is all what you see in the other areas of Brooklyn and Manhattan. So there's an opportunity there to provide those services. Some of the demographics here, just quickly, are that it's 68% Latin American, which is why it's important to be able to speak English and Spanish in these neighborhoods. We're talking about northwestern Queens, which is Jackson Heights, Corona, and Elmhurst. Looking at the SWOT analysis for this business, some of the strengths are that I grew up in this neighborhood, so I understand the community well. I also possess all the skills necessary to run this as a solo venture, hiring per diem when needed. Some of the great opportunities are that this business could branch out into other services that could be offered in the future. The next logical step would be a content platform to manage businesses' content that they want to have on their signage. Some of the weaknesses are, though, that this is a time-consuming type of business. This is not something that could be operated as a side gig. It would be something that needs 100% of attention. Also, there could be complex carpentry skills that are above the current level of skill that I have. So that could cause an issue. The signage that I'm looking to do is a higher production value signage than just installing a TV. Some of the threats are when people try to just install a TV. There's lots of DIY projects that business owners do, carpenters and handymans in the neighborhood, because this is a working class neighborhood, who will just try to just put up the signage themselves. So this is why I think there's an opportunity for more professional quality signage. Looking at the marketing mix of product, place, price, and promotion, the overview of the 4 Ps, this is a comprehensive B2B service where the cost of the whole package would be between $2,000 to $5,000, which is the going market rate. It would mainly be offered door to door because the business is a tight-knit, small community, mainly businesses done in person, although it would be offered on the website and through pop-up events in person as well. Because this is a tech startup and a B2B service, it's extremely important to be product focused. And so what I did here was I broke the product into 4 different buckets: the hardware, the installation, the configuration, and the media. Here, we can see all of the different offerings that are given to the business owner for that $2,000 to $5,000 package. but these could also be broken into separate services and offered individually. The value of taking on the whole package, though, is really what we want to sell to the business, because that's what can differentiate them from the new competition in the neighborhood. The neighborhood is changing rapidly, so we see a lot of large corporations like Chipotle and Starbucks coming in, and it's actually changing the neighborhood quite quickly. We want to see increased sales, and we want to see the traditional businesses stick around for a long time. So what I'm suggesting is that we take something more like this traditional Mama's Empanadas sign is here, which is a community favorite, and update it and have a little more slick, high production value signage that shows what they do and can kind of show what's in the empanadas in an appealing way that can attract new customers, as well as holding on to the customers that they already have to entice more people to eat empanadas. Looking at a quick comparison between the digital signage and traditional signage, here on the left we see it's wintertime and the digital signage has winter relevant items, where here on the right we have non-winter relevant items like ices and ice creams. So seasonality comes into effect. Also, signage is something that business owners are not specialists in, right? It takes them away from what they're professional quality in. So if they're chefs, if they're accountants or lawyers, or they have some small businesses, dealing with the signage is just taking them away from what they know how to do best. So we're suggesting that you work with a professional. Here we can see a DIY project on the right where they're pretty much just putting up a TV, where here on the left we have a professional team putting in high quality signage on the left. Digital signage can be more engaging, and you can make decisions based on the performance of that signage. Here on the left we see signage that's targeting a younger demographic who looks to be uploading to social media to get a discount, where on the right we see just traditional signage not doing too much. On the right here, we see that a business owner is buying some stock signage for their business, which is a burger shop business. We're here on the left. What we're positioning is high production value, again, photo and video, unique to these businesses so they can differentiate themselves from their new competitors. For the positioning strategy, it would be really important to understand if this is something that the target demographic actually has an appetite for. It might be a great idea, but it's something that I'd really want to know from the community if it's something that they're interested in. So it'd be really important to focus on the 4 Ps in the focus group, but specifically on the product. The survey would be based off of what's learned in the focus group and different events. Here we have some of the focus group questions, and it would be really important to understand if the business owners really appreciate doing business in English and Spanish, or whether they're indifferent to it. From my own personal experience, I know that my circle of influence really enjoys doing this type of business in English and Spanish, but it'd be good to get an objective opinion. Similarly, I'm passionate about the neighborhood being the same going into the future with the changes and the new competition coming in, but I'd like to know if business owners are equally passionate about that. So we are seeing Starbucks competing with La Montaña Coffee. We're seeing Chipotle competing with La Pueblitas, which are, neighborhood classics. Some people are concerned that the digital signage would modernize or remove the charm from these traditional businesses in the neighborhood. So this is something that I'd also like to know from the business owners and target demographic if it's something that they would be concerned with. Again, the survey would be based off of the focus groups and the different events, but some basic questions could be, on a scale of 1 to 10, how appealing is the signage? Or we can ask, how much do you think this service would cost? It's important to know if there's an appetite for this service, but it's also important to know if the demographic is willing to spend on this kind of service and how much they're able to spend. Moving on to the social media strategy. As a tech startup, mainly focused on appeal and modernization, it'd be super important to have a great website as a hub to be able to connect to our social media outlets. The website should definitely have a blog, which would link to our other social media outlets. As a B2B service, it would be important to be big on Facebook and LinkedIn. Those are writing intensive. We can have white papers on there, longer posts, whereas we'd also want to focus on photo and video focused social media apps like YouTube and Instagram, where we can show more demos, more of the media quality that would be offered. And those could be linked to the blog. When there's high impact posts where there's lots of engagement with users, those are the type of posts which should be linked onto the blog to increase SEO of the website and raise the profile of the business. Because there's a large focus on owned media and earned media including the viral content, there would be a large push in the first year to create this website and also the content creation that would be on the website and on the different platforms. So probably from January to August, it would be only focused on the web design and content creation, whereas after that, we could start publishing website material and content to the different media outlets. The viral content would be hopefully made at the pop-up events, which we can see here on the right is just an example of a tattoo artist and an empanada chef. And what we have is some slick digital signage above them, which we can get surveys here at these events and gain insight on whether this is something that the demographic actually enjoys. These are some of the references for this project. Thanks for watching.